Sometimes we just have to sit there twiddling our thumbs waiting for the next installment of our favourite game series to release. 1 year passes, surely we'll hear something soon. It's now been 10 years with no new news. Grey hairs are settling in and those newfound wrinkles are becoming more noticeable. But a teaser trailer just dropped of your favourite game. All excited, but you hear nothing for another 4 years. Looking at you, Dragon Quest 12. But sometimes we are lucky and finally get those games released. Today we're going to talk about games that have huge gaps in between releases. I hope everyone's doing well that's found this video, but hey, let's jump right into it. In 1997, players stepped out of Vault 13 into a world that had already ended. Black Isle Studios released a grim, dark, and comedic, top-down turn-based post-apocalyptic game. You weren't a chosen hero, you were just someone desperate enough to walk into the wasteland for a water clip. The next year, Fallout 2 released in 1998, taking place about 80 years after Fallout 1. You're not the chosen one, you're a very unlucky descendant of the original Vault Dweller. Living in a tiny, struggling tribal village called Areo, your people are starving, crops are dying, and the elders decided, hey, let's just send the one person in pajamas into the deadly wasteland to fix everything. Why not? Compared to Fallout 1's relatively tight map, Fallout 2's world is huge and dense. You travel from settlement to settlement, each with its own flow of madness. Fallout 2 balances harsh post-apocalyptic storytelling with absolutely unhinged humour. In Fallout 2, you decide what kind of disaster you want to be. Smooth-talking con artist who solves everything with words, sniper who deletes heads from across the map, melee-matic with a super sledgehammer and anger issues, idiot with 1 intelligence and maximum chaos. The special status lets you define your build. Perks give you wild bonuses, from extra criticals to bloody mess, more violent deaths pretty much, to perks that boost XP and dialogue options. Turn-based combat lets you target body parts, blowing off limbs or going for eye shots. Violence is both technical and comedic. Choices matter. Kill a quest giver, fail forward. Sell someone out, it might bite you later. Side with a faction, you might look yourself out of others. The game is absolutely willing to let you fail, or soft lock yourself for being careless. It assumes you save often, and you learn that the hard way. Fans love Fallout 2. It's insanely reactive. Your stats, skills, and choices change how people treat you and how quests play out. The world feels alive, full of random events and strange little stories. It's one of the most peak experiences of the late 90s for a turn-based RPG. Sprawling, messy, and incredibly deep. But it also has its flaws. It's janky, bugs, unclear quest direction, the occasional I guess the game hates me now moment. The early game can be rough, especially if you picked a funny but terrible build. It does not care if you don't understand everything, it just throws you into the deep end and shrugs. But why did fans have to wait 10 years between Fallout 2 and 3? While the original Fallout 3 was cancelled, Black Isle Studios started work on Fallout 3, which was codenamed Van Buren in early 2000s. Interplay, their publisher, ran into some serious financial trouble and cancelled Van Buren in 2003, then shut down Black Isle and laid off the team. Interplay sold the license to make a new Fallout game. They sold it to Bethesda Softworks in 2004, as trying to stay afloat financially. Bethesda later bought the full rights to the Fallout IP. They bought it outright. Bethesda didn't pick up Van Buren though. They started their own Fallout 3 from scratch, using their tech and Elder Scrolls experience. The kind of reinvention of full AAA development naturally took several years, leading to Fallout 3's 2008 release. Fallout 3 finally released in 2008. It transformed Fallout into a first-person open-world RPG. You could explore a huge wasteland in real time, scavenge, talk to factions, and use VATS to target enemy bodies in turn-based slow motion. The shift upset some old-school fans, but it brought Fallout to a much wider audience and helped define the modern open-world RPG template. The series really had a AAA vibe now. Now that Fallout 3 was a mainstream hit, it won multiple game awards. It successfully rebooted Fallout for a new generation and directly paved the way for New Vegas, Fallout 4, and a wider brand becoming a huge series. Until
I read on the internet that our games have had a few bugs. I did. I read it on the internet, so it's true. And that sometimes it doesn't just work.
Our next game takes us back to 1993, the release of Doom. Published and developed by ID Software, Doom changed the first-person shooter genre forever. Doom showed us that FPS games could be fast, fluid, and aggressive. You moved quickly, dodged fireballs, and stayed constantly in motion, hiding behind cover, no reloading, just pure momentum. The sense of speed became the template for the 90s shooters and inspired a whole wave of Doom clones. After the success of Doom, ID Software needed to jump on this hype. And we got Doom 2, Hell on Earth, releasing in 1993, just a year later. On paper it looked like more Doom. Same engine, same core gameplay. But that's exactly what let ID Software refine everything players already loved. Level design got bigger and more complex, with sprawling city maps and nastier ambushes. Doom had made its place in the first-person shooter genre, and had really crafted a path for them. In between this time, we got the Ultimate Doom, an updated version of the original. Then followed the master levels of Doom 2, an expansion pack for Doom 2. In 1997, Midway, then San Diego studio, got the chance to make Doom 64 for the Nintendo 64, branching out to the home entertainment scene and gain a lot more hype for the series after. So that's a quick rundown of the series, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Doom 3, which released in 2004, 7 years after Doom 64. In its own sense, that could have made the list of long periods between games, but that's not the game we're here to talk about. Fans waited for a new Doom, wondering what they could do with the more modern hardware. ID Software got back in the seat of hell to develop a game that was very different to what came before it. Doom 3. It's basically ID Software's big modern horror reboot of Doom, with a long, messy development and a hard pivot in gameplay towards slower, story-driven tension. After Quake 3 Team Arena, ID decided the next big project would be a reboot of the Doom series. In early 2000s, development started. Took longer than expected. A leak early build in 2002 caused drama, and the team publicly showed a major demo at E3 2003. But the game slipped past the 2003 window and finally released in August 2004. Doom 3 is still a first-person shooter, but it's built as a slow burn horror game instead of a hyper-fast arena shooter. Tight corridors, limited visibility, enemies popping out of darkness, and a heavy emphasis on jump scares and atmosphere. You play as a UAC Marine on Mars sent to a massive research facility where teleportation experiments open a portal to hell. The story is told through cutscenes, voiced NPCs, and lots of PDA and audio logs you can pick up and read and listen to, fulfilling in a corporate backstory and personal tragedies. The core mechanics revolve around moving carefully through dark environments with a flashlight, fight smaller but tougher enemies which are often scripted to spawn behind you, managing health and ammo, navigation in a more linear mission-based structure. The game leans on a new engine, especially with its lighting, flickering lamps, moving shadows, and monster designs that look more meaty and detailed than the sprites of the classic Doom, all to sell the horror vibe over pure speed. Doom 3 was praised for its graphics, sound design, and atmosphere, and became a commercial success, but some classic fans criticised it for being slower, more scripted, and less run-and-gun Doom than they wanted. But the question we want to know is, why did fans have to wait so long between Doom 3 and Doom 2016? Mainly because the next Doom got stuck in a full-on development hell. Was effectively made twice, and ID was busy with Rage in between. Work on the next Doom, then called Doom 4, started around 2007 and went on for years. That early version was more cinematic, scripted, Call of Duty style game set on Earth, internally nicknamed Call of Doom by some. Around 2011, that version was basically scrapped and the project was rebooted from ground up. Overall, Doom 2016's development stretched about 8 years from the first serious work in 2007 to be released in 2016, so they lost a lot of time on that first game. Reports and dev interviewers describe Doom 4 as suffering from mismanagement and an identity crisis, with good production value but no clear Doom soul, which is why it was restarted. Bethesda and ID Software decided to reveal Doom 2016 at QuakeCon 2014. Yeah, that's right, Bethesda, the creators of Fallout 3, also had their thumb in that pie. So pretty much, it's not they didn't want to make the next Doom, they just spent too much time making the wrong game. But what is Doom 2016? It's a fast, ultra-aggressive reboot that drags the series back from horror slow Doom 3 into pure high-speed demon slaying with more modern twists. You play as Doomslayer, awakened in a UAC facility on Mars where experiments with Hal's energy had gone wrong. The story exists, but it's pushed into the background with logs, codex entries, NPCs talk, where you mostly ignore them and rip demons apart, into a self-aware shut up and let me kill things tone. Very fast movement with sprinting, double jumps, and mantling, usually faster than most demons. No reloading and big weapon swaps, so the pace never stops for ammunition downtime. Arena-style encounters, you enter a combat space, demons spawn in waves, and you cycle, strafe, jump, and route plan on fly. When Doom 2016 landed, it was pretty much a mixture of classic Doom speed and brutality with a modern twist and progression and visuals. A combat loop where movement, weapon swapping, and gory kills all fed into each other. It's basically a carefully tuned feedback loop of move fast, kill fast, get rewarded for being aggressive, which is why so many people see it as the series' big return to form. After Doom 2016's overwhelming success, we got the follow-ups of Eternal, and just last year got the Dark Ages, which fans also love. It's such a massive series with such a big story, and came so far, and it's only getting bigger, and I'm excited to see where the series goes from here. So the next game on the chopping block is a beloved series, Fable. Back in the early 2000s, Lionhead spun up a project called Project Ego, what would become the first Fable. The dream was huge, a fantasy world where your hero would grow up, age, scar, gain weight, get ripped, and where every choice you made would ripple through the land. You weren't just playing a character, you were shaping your hero. The team wanted Albion to feel like a living, storybook world. Not genetic high fantasy, but a dark fairy tale with British humour, drunk villagers, and bandits who somehow always have time to taunt you. Which side you picked, being a good hero or an evil hero, would literally show on your face. Halo and butterflies if you were good, glowing eyes and devil horns if you were full menace. But behind the scenes, the project was struggling to keep up with its own ambitions. It swapped platforms, shifted tech, and lived under the weight of famous promises like planting an acorn and watching it grow into a tree over your character's lifetime. Cool idea, just not something the game could realistically pull off at the time. When Fable finally launched in 2004, it didn't match every wild promise, but it did deliver something fresh. A model system that visibly changed your hero, a world that reacted to your reputation, a fairy tale RPG tone, and felt completely different from grim, number-heavy PC epics. In the end, Fable is remembered as one of the games that flew a little too close to the sun, but still left a big shadow over how RPGs handle choices and consequences and characters' identity. We also got Fable The Lost Chapters in the same year. Fable The Lost Chapters is basically Fable 1's direct cut, the version that got a little closer to what the team originally wanted. After the first Fable launched in 2004, players loved Albion, but they also finished the game pretty fast. A lot of ideas, locations and story beats had been cut out to hit the deadline. So Lionhead went back to work, polished what was there, stitched in extra content that didn't make it to the original release. If Fable was a big promise, Fable 2 was the okay, let's try that again, but smarter moment. After Fable 1 smashed sales expectations, Lionhead and Microsoft knew they were making a sequel, but this time the studio wanted to avoid chaos and overpromising of the first game's development. It finally released in 2008. Set about 500 years after the first game, Fable 2 moves Albion into an early industrial era musks, highwaymen, bigger cities, and a world that's modernizing, but still full of magic. You play a new hero in the same bloodline as the original hero from the first game, rising from a street kid into a legendary figure, while hunting down Lucian, a noble with a god complex and a world-ending tower. In 2010, just 2 years after Fable 2, we got Fable 3. Fable 3 is where the series jumped from be a hero to be a ruler, and also where the rush development really started to show. Fable 3 is set 50 years after Fable 2, in an Albion fully into an industrial age, factories, child labour, and early Revelation vibes. You play the child of the Fable 2 hero, rising up against your tyrant brother, Logan, and eventually taking the throne for yourself. Unlike Fable 1 and 2, roughly 3 years dev cycles, Fable 3 was built in about 18 to 24 months under Microsoft's ownership, with a hard no more delays mandate. Former devs describe it as 18 months of a regretful compromise. They hit the date, but only delivered around 1/3 of the content they originally planned and felt they needed another 12 to 18 months. After Fable 3, we got a lot of questionable spin-offs that fans really didn't enjoy. Back in 2014, we got Fable Anniversary, a remake of the original game with updated graphics, a definitive way to experience Fable 1. 2 years ago, we finally got the teaser trailer for the new upcoming Fable game, which hopefully will release in 2016 if everything goes to plan for Playground Games. But why did fans have to wait 16 years for the next main installment of the Fable franchise? Fans had to wait so long mainly because the original Fable studio, Lionhead, was shut down. A live service spin-off pack got cancelled, and the reboot had to start fresh at a completely different team. After Fable 3, Lionhead spent years working on Fable Legends, a multiplayer live service spin-off instead of a traditional Fable 4. Internally, many devs actually wanted to move on to a proper single-player Fable 4 after Legends, but they never got the chance. In 2016, Microsoft cancelled Fable Legends and then clotheslined Studios entirely, killing any in-house patch to a new mainline Fable. After Lionhead's closure in 2016, there was simply no studio actively making Fable for a while. The IP just sat. Microsoft didn't immediately assign it to anyone. Fable was in limbo while Xbox focused on other projects and rethought what to do with the franchise. Eventually, Playground Games, the creator of Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsports, picked up the game as a full reboot. Not Fable 4, because they felt continuing Lionhead's story would be inauthentic for a new team. These conversations started in 2017, with a second team inside Playground learning how to make an open world action RPG instead of a racer. The reboot was officially announced in 2020, but it's a brand new pipeline, new tech adopted, Horizon's engine, and a studio building RPG experience as they go, so development has been long and careful by design. So we'll just have to sit here and hope that Playground Games can deliver a classic Fable game, something that lives up to what the franchise was before, a beloved series by fans. I guess we just won't know until it releases. Thought it was a pretty juicy list of 3 games that, yeah, definitely had big periods in between releases, and they're quite well-known series. So, but we're eating pretty well now, so it's quite nice to know. Let me know in the comments which one you guys are mostly keen for, and me personally, probably Fable 2026. I'm a huge Fable fan. I've played through them and absolutely love, like, Fable The Lost Chapters is in my top 5 games of all time, so I'm really keen for that, and hopefully Playground Games can do something really cool with it. Like, visually I know it's going to look amazing because that's just how they roll. Look at the Forza games, for example, but yeah, that's what I'm mostly keen for. Hopefully they can deliver on that. And anyway, if I earned you a subscription, please subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. Leave a like, and yeah, thank you for making it to the end, and until next time, peace.